You're listening once again to the Yalak Emet channel New Testament is Fake series, Twitter, YouTube, Patreon. This is October 24, 2020, on the set apart Sabbath of the Torah. The lesson will destroy Jesus and the apostles with their New Testament on the Sabbath of the Lord. My lesson today is titled Rapture Wings Clipped by Torah. So the New Testament rapture is going to be exposed and destroyed once again by the words of the Torah, which I don't know why these New Testament speakers and teachers taught this rapture stuff when they said they're following it. Like Paul said, what's written in the Torah, the Old Testament, was written for our learning and understanding. So since he knew the Torah so well, how could he have missed this, and how could the others all have missed it? They did not miss it. They knew exactly what they were doing. There was no miss. They hit the target. The mark was the Torah. They were trying to strike down, bullseye, and hit down the teachings of the Torah by introducing new doctrines, and in this case, the new rapture doctrine. My first verse from John chapter 14 and verse 2. Now, it's sad. This is where Jesus talks about many mansions, and it's sad to see that this verse that I loved so much from a child actually disgraces Jesus. So for all these Hebrew Israelite messianic teachers and believers, you really need to pay attention to this lesson and this verse I'm going to start with, because it really creates a problem for Jesus and the New Testament. John 14 verse 2. Jesus is speaking here. He says, "In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you." It's funny that when Paul said he went up to the heavens, I can hardly remember whether he said third heaven or seventh heaven. That when he went up there, he didn't see all these mansions. John and all of them, when they got their visions, they never saw these many mansions. No Torah prophet or person seeing their visions in the Old Testament during Israel times or pre-Israel times, like in the times of the patriarchs, none of them ever said in their visions that they saw these many mansions in heaven. They always said they saw the Lord, the glory of the Lord, things like that, like in Isaiah 6, and at other times they saw the Lord. Or they mentioned things from their visions in heaven, but they never reported seeing many, many mansions, like millions of mansions. They just never did. So it's kind of strange that Jesus is saying there are many mansions, yet he says he goes to prepare a place for you, meaning for his believers, his followers. But if there already are many mansions, why does he need to go and prepare them, as in build them? Because it was taught to us that the preparation meant to go and build them. And that's most likely what it would mean, because if they were already there, it's not just like cleaning them up, getting them ready, like preparing them to be ready. Because like I said, no one else saw these mansions. Now here's another problem, though, that you really need to think of in this opening verse in the lesson, is that Jesus said, "In my Father's house." Where was the house of the Lord? If you read the Old Testament, of course, you know the house of the Lord was in Israel, was at one point in Bethel, and then moved to Jerusalem. So we're looking in the land of Israel is the house of the Lord. He lives with them. That's the house of Israel. And he called the people the house of Israel as well, the house of Israel, Judah. But we know the people share the same name as the land. So the land is called Israel. The people, they're called Israel as well. So if he's going to his father's house, the first thing that should have come to the mind of the Israelites, he said he came to reach and to die for. The first thing that should have come to their Torah mind, which means that they did not really have a Torah mind. They might have heard some stuff, but really not. Because the first thing that should have come to the mind, already conditioned by Torah, was, wait, he's going to prepare the mansions right here. Because we're in Jerusalem, we're in Israel, and he was born here to Mary and Joseph, although some said born to Mary and God. But if he's born right here where we are, and this Israel is the house of God, then the mansions are here. They should have been looking around. Where is it, Lord? Is it to the east or to the west of the land? Is it like where? So his preparation of the many mansions should have been in the land of Israel. But we find that he actually left and went up in some clouds instead of remaining on earth. You should be able to find Jesus now. There should have been no angel when he was going up in those clouds. Talking about this same Jesus that you see going up, leaving you, he's going to return again in like manner. Because he should have been right on earth. There's disciples talking about Maranatha, talking about come quickly, Lord Jesus. And they were saying back then, like few decades, for a first few decades after Jesus, these disciples were walking around, and the others who became believers after, walking around Maranatha, Maranatha, and holding their head up to the sky, walking, looking up, because they expected Jesus to return anytime soon in their lifetime. You see, these are lying stories, because all of those people 2,000 years ago would have known, because they said and pretended that they understood the Torah and that this New Testament was the full teaching, was the fulfillment of the Old Testament. So they should have known that any fulfillment of Old Testament Torah teaching about the house and mansions should have been mansions in Jerusalem or Israel, all over Israel. Because that's where the house of the Lord was situated. And he said, Jerusalem, where I place my name. So wouldn't his name be in his house? Just like the Israelites were called the house of God, or the house of Israel and the house of Judah, and his name was in them, the people as well. Because his name is in his house. So if his name is in Jerusalem, if his name is on the land, that's where they should have been looking for him, not walking down the streets of Jerusalem with their head up to the sky looking like some religious idiots, talking about he should be coming any moment now. So this is a great deception. Every Israelite back then, as well as Israelites today, as well as Gentiles, all throughout these past 2,000 years and now, should be looking for Jesus in the land of Israel, because he said he was going away to prepare the mansions. And the mansions are dealing with buildings situated in the house of the Lord, which is the land of the Lord. But like I've told you in other lessons, which when I get some more time, I'm going to bring it out some more, that the land of Israel is really Isra Africa, or Israfrica. It's Africa. So you should be looking for him in the land of the Lord. And as you read the scriptures some more, you will see that the mansions in decades to come will be in the land of Africa as the great restoration happens. And blacks are already being encouraged to move back home. But for the masses of us, we will go when the Most High moves us there. Because no government is just going to sit down and watch you just all pack up in the millions and go back to Africa. Now, a few of us might go, a few of us, but they're not going to just watch some great mass exodus. Blacks just quitting all their jobs and leaving by the millions and crashing the economy instantly, saying they're going back to Africa. No, it would have to be the Lord that fulfills that and brings you back. So it's good to be encouraged. Come back home to Africa. We need you. We need your help. And life is going to be better for you over here. We're glad for that. And some are already starting to go. But in the end, it will be the Most High who does it. Because not even all of us can afford to just pick up and go anyway. So Jesus should be either over there in Israel, which is still part of Africa, or he should be in Africa. So I don't know why he went up to heaven in clouds. He should have been in some chariot or walking on foot to go into other parts of the land in Israel to go and make these mansions ready. So Jesus is obviously giving some hint of the rapture and so on. Now let's hear Paul kind of pick it up. Let's look at 1 Thessalonians 4 verse 17. And he talks about in the verse 15 and 16, the Lord's coming back and so on. And archangel, dead in Christ rise and so on. So basically that's the rapture teaching. Then in verse 17, then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up, so that's where they get the whole rapture teaching from, together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. And so shall we ever be with the Lord. And in verse 18, comfort one another. So basically they went on to give us this false comfort, false hope, according to verse 18. So what you find is that the New Testament was written just to give us a false hope. Because like I said, Jesus' own words should have been fulfilled in him remaining in the land on earth to prepare the place for 2,000 years. So when people will be going there, whether as Israelites returning to go and look for Jesus and try to pick out their mansions, or Gentiles just go to take pictures with their camera and film him and so on, because, we can still see Jesus on earth. He should have been saying, I'm busy, I can't do no interviews now. My time for ministry was done a lot. I spoke to lots of people. I got millions of mansions here. I'm only halfway done. No time. But we find nobody goes there to find Jesus, because this is all false comfort and a big deception. Now let's get into it now to show how the rapture wings are clipped by the Torah. So we see Jesus promising his mansions, which you're going to get after the rapture, and Paul saying in 1 Thessalonians 4:17, rapture, rapture, rapture. Now let's look at the book of Daniel, chapter 7. We'll start at verse 3 and see what it says. Now, Daniel got a vision, and I'm not going to read the whole vision and so on. I'm just gonna pick out the verses that I want. But a lot of us already know this kind of story from Daniel, chapter 7. So Daniel 7, verse 3, and 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. Now, when you understand this, you know, if they're coming up from the sea, then these are beasts, so they're going to be ruling on earth and doing damage with their kings, with their kingdoms. So this is earth that we're talking about, this vision. And then he goes on, the first was like a lion, an eagle's wings, and so on and whatever. Let's run down to verse 15 to 18. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit, in the midst of my body, in the visions of my head troubled me. Look at what is being said here, now that I have a little more understanding, no longer being a child. I, Daniel, was grieved where? In my spirit. I was thinking yesterday how these Bible people were super spiritual people. Their whole economy of Israel, their whole culture, lifestyle revolved around spiritual things. Not like us today, you just want the latest iPhone or the latest tablet out there and so on. These people, a lot of things to them were just based on spirit. If you said A or B to them, they thought of spirit stuff. What does that mean? In order to understand what you were saying. That's just how they communicated and understood stuff. So now he says, I was grieved in my spirit. So the stuff happens to him inside his spirit. Notice now, he has not gone to heaven. It is all happening inside his spirit, and his spirit is where? Inside his body. So this is where the prophets got their revelations from and so on. Inside their bodies on earth. They did not actually physically go to heaven as far as I can figure out in the scripture. I've been looking at these prophets lately. And when they're telling you they're going to heaven and so on, like even Paul tried to deceive us with that, they are still on earth. As far as their body, they did not physically fly and go up to heaven. So he said it happened in his spirit, in the midst of his body, and the visions, what? Off my head. Off my head. So it's not like his whole body went up to heaven. The visions, and he saw stuff in heaven, the visions were off his head. So all that he saw, or all of the vision that he saw, were off his head, or things occurring in his head. In other words, in his mind. So these prophets, they weren't flying up to heaven to talk to God and looking at him on his throne. The things were happening inside their head, as he puts it here, off my head, and it troubled him. So the visions, H2376 for the vision, Kezev, means a vision, an appearance. So it is off his head. The vision or the appearance was off his head. In other words, he saw something in his head, in the midst of his body, in his head, like he did with the whole pineal gland. You see that? And this is where he's seeing the stuff. It's a vision that's coming to him. The vision came to him in his head, or happened in his head. He did not happen in heaven. The stuff instead happened inside of him. Now that actually, if you think of it, it makes you not be so hopeless in terms of not being able to have your own experiences. You can have them inside of you, inside your head as well, to direct your life some more, and the life and the future of your people. As we're getting ready for last day stuff, you must grow up from trivial biblical deceptions. If you cannot see things inside of you happening inside your head, the revelation center in your body that God gave you, instead of just generalizing it and calling it only spirit, he tried to zone in on it a little bit more and say, it's not just in my spirit, but in my head. So he's letting you know you can do the same as well. For what's ahead of us, yeah, we're sure going to need some people seeing that. So it means further to see, to behold, to witness, to behold in a dream or vision. So basically, he's saying the stuff that troubled him, that he saw, the vision, was all happening inside his head. He was seeing inside so-called mind's eye. He never went to heaven. That they make you feel that these prophets are going to heaven and meeting with God. Verse 16, I came near unto one of them that stood by and asked him the truth of all of this. So he told me and made me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are four kings which shall arise out of the earth. I first told you about sea, now he's telling you out of earth. So some, like the beasts, they came out of the sea, and now he's telling you they came out of the earth. The whole setting is here on earth. Your plane, your earth plane that you live on, not in heaven. So he's putting the whole happening, the whole occurrence of all these things on your level. These things are happening on earth. So they arose out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. So he's rubbing it in to make sure everybody who reads this knows it will not change after that. Daniel here exposes the rapture lying doctrine of Jesus and Apostle Paul, who he met apparently on the Damascus Road. He met Paul and chose Paul. We always say Paul met Jesus. But you still have to understand that Jesus also met Paul on that same road. They both had an encounter. And Jesus set him up to be the next apostle, to carry on the lies, now that you have more understanding. So, if it's saying here now that the saints will take the kingdom, they will possess the kingdom, how can they take the kingdom? Well, once the Most High works it out and gives it back to them, they're going to take it, possess it, own it. It's going to be theirs again like it was before it was taken from them, before they lost it. Forever. And where did they possess the kingdom before the kingdom went down, the kingdom of Israel? On earth. So if they're going to take the kingdom, it is not something that they're taking in heaven after they go up in a rapture. It is something that's being done, all of it here on earth. The kingdom is not the kingdom of heaven where you fly up with wings in a rapture to go up to be with Jesus. The kingdom is being taken on earth after wars are fought and lost by the wicked. The wicked will lose it, and the righteous, the Israelites, will take the kingdom back and possess it forever and ever on earth. So it is an earthly kingdom, but run by the children of Israel, and they will possess that earthly kingdom once again forever and ever. It is not heaven that they're going to. No Christian is flying up to heaven, and no Hebrew Israelite that believes in the Messiah is flying up to heaven, as well as some of them saying they're going to fly in clouds up there and fly in space and they'll discover new worlds and so on in heaven. You're not going to do any of that. You will possess it here on the earth forever and ever. All your experiences will be here on the earth forever and ever. If you're going to find new planets, you're going to find it here on earth forever and ever. That's where all your planets are going to be, on earth. 100 new planets you find in the future, you're going to find them on earth. Behind that hill over there, across behind that mountain over there, you're going to find everything here. Because you will be there forever and ever, not in heaven after you go up in the rapture. Sorry to break it to you, but I'm more than happy to do so. Now, that's Daniel destroying the rapture that you're flying up to heaven, because the saved people, which are the Israelites, will be saved in their kingdom on earth, saved by the Most High. And even David, I think it was David saying, the name of the Lord is a strong tower, righteous run into it and are saved. Again, where is he looking for salvation? Not in heaven, looking forward to some rapture like Jesus believers hope for. He's looking for salvation on earth from a God, the Most High, that he worshipped, that was on a mountain. It's a strong tower, I should say, tower. The righteous runs into it. The tower is where situated on earth, Jerusalem. It's the name of the Lord because he said, I'll place my name there. So the whole tower of salvation is earth-based. It's not heaven-based behind clouds. You are not going to heaven no matter how strong your faith is. It will be done here on earth if you get saved. So Torah clips the wings of the rapture. You're not going anywhere. Then look at the same Daniel 7 verse 22. Until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. The time came when it happened. They possessed it here on earth. And verse 27, and the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven. He just made Jesus and Paul liars. Hello. He just made Jesus and Apostle Paul to be nothing but liars, along with the other disciples and teachers of the New Testament. Why is that? Because like it said in Daniel 7:27, read it for yourself, under the whole heaven, the kingdom and the dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people. So all the dominion is not dominion coming out of heaven. The kingdom is not up in heaven with many mansions in it that Jesus said he went up in clouds and is going to. So they make it even the angels lie when the angel said, this Jesus you see going up. Basically, he's saying he's going up to prepare a place for you and he's coming back, because that's what Jesus said. So obviously, if he's going up, the angel really meant he's going away to go prepare and he's going to come back for you from beyond the clouds. But this is saying all of the happening, all of the kingdom, all of the dominion, all of the greatness of the kingdom is happening under the whole heaven, not even a part of it. He said the whole of it, to make sure you don't try to slip in that there's this piece of heaven over there to the west, to the east, to the wherever. And that's where the kingdom is. No. He says under the whole heaven. That means the kingdom that you're going to be saved in and possessed is here on the actual earth that you now stand on, but it will be in the land of the Lord. Hello. I know this is going to trouble your pastor. They might hate you, your camp leader, but just study it out for yourself before you ask them anything. Because when you get it rock solid inside of you, it's harder for them to knock it out of you. Look at it for yourself. Daniel 7:27. Read that. Tell me if you have a problem understanding that the kingdom and dominion and greatness of the kingdom will be under the whole heaven. That means the greatness of the kingdom is not going to be something coming from out of heaven, coming down to earth. The greatness of it will all be underneath the whole heaven. The clouds, the sky underneath it. So God's not sending no power from out of heaven. Jesus is not sending no power from out of heaven. But Jesus coming with, 200,000 or 200 million, whatever they said, horses and saints, fighter saints, 144,000, all kinds of jumbled up numbers they have coming down to fight. That is garbage. It means something else. Not going to deal with that now, but that's just other stories that they're using to put something on you. If anybody's coming on horses to fight, they're coming from another land, on earth. Because the greatness of the kingdom will be displayed underneath the whole heaven. And it shall be given to the people of the saints, of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. Rapture, wings clipped by Torah. Do you understand that last part of verse 27? If people go up to heaven, Gentiles who enslaved you, chopped off your feet, your leg, and threw overboard in slavery because you didn't want to stay on the slave ship and so on, if they, because they get saved by Jesus, go up to heaven, how are they going to serve and obey you on earth? If they gone up in rapture to live forever, because rapture doctrine says when you go up to rapture in heaven, that's where you live forever and ever. You eat all your food there, and so on and blah, 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 and you're going to have the marriage supper of the Lamb first, and blah, blah, blah. You're living forever and ever in Jesus' presence. But this says, all dominions shall serve and obey him. That means every other kingdom on earth, every other kind of on earth, kind of people on earth and kingdom and rulership and so on will bow, will serve and obey the Israelite kingdom on the earth, because they will have dominion under the whole heaven. So everyone else will serve them. That means there's nobody going up to heaven that's going to be there because they went up in a rapture, because they will have to be on the earth if they did not die to serve the dominion that at the start of verse 27 was given unto the children of Israel, and the kingdom and the dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven. And that's what they're going to serve. All of them shall serve and obey him, because they will not go in a rapture, or the Torah will be a lie. So your New Testament teachers should stop using the New Testament for every reason except to expose it as a great deception. New Testament is end-time deception to deceive you all the way until the end, when you realize, damn, it's too late, I believed a lie all along. But it doesn't have to be too late for you, because you're hearing truth right here. I'll read from the last chapter, Isaiah chapter 61, to show again that even the prophet Isaiah said some of these things that clipped the wings of the rapture. Isaiah, I'll read about 3 verses. Isaiah 61 and verse 4. And they shall build the old wastes, and they shall raise up the former desolations, and they shall repair the waste cities, the desolations of many generations. Oh man. That's Israel right here. But I don't want to get into that, right? That's for the Africa of God series. But they're going to build the old waste cities and so on. They're going to make repairs. Now, if Jesus said he is going to prepare mansions. Why are these people, the Israelites, when they're restored by God, going to repair some old waste stuff? Stuff that was wasted a long time ago, wasted from the elements, wasted from war and so on, wasted from even judgments from God and so on. When Jesus is making something else that's brand new, and they're going to tinker around with some old broken down stuff. Jesus said he's going to go and prepare it. But this is saying that the people shall renew it, repair it. The old waste places, Kadash, to renew, make anew, repair, renew oneself. So it's all stuff they're going to renew again, but Jesus is, according to what they taught, is going to make some new mansions for us up in heaven. Causatively to rebuild. That's what the repair means when it says to repair the waste cities. They will rebuild old waste cities, use the foundations of them and so on, and the whatever walls might be left structurally okay still and so on. They're going to repair all those stuff and set up the old cities again. While Jesus is off doing his own thing, and he says, he does and says what his Father says, and so on. What his Father said, this is what I'm going to make my people do. They're going to repair the old places, the old cities. And Jesus said, I'm going to go and prepare some new stuff for you. Is Jesus of the mind of God or of the mind of an impostor added on to the scriptures? So he's going to make some new mansions. When Deuteronomy 4 verse 2 already said, do not add anything to the word that I command you this day. But Jesus is saying something new, that I'm going to make some new places, some new mansions. See, Deuteronomy 4 verse 2, ye shall not add unto the word which I command you. And so he commanded that they would rebuild always places. It was a promise. But Jesus said he's going to do something new. And here now, the Most High said the people will rebuild it and so on. That people will do that. But Jesus said he is going to do it himself. And he's going up into the cloud to go and do it. But you shall not add unto the word which I command you, like Jesus was doing. Neither shall he diminish aught from it. So Jesus diminished what the Most High said, that the people will rebuild old waste places and possess it and so on. Jesus is going to make up some new mansions for them to possess. He's going to build it himself and make them possess a new place. When the Most High said it's the old places. So do not diminish aught from it. Jesus was diminishing some from what the Most High said, and he said it was his Father. Aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you. So whoever is diminishing aught or adding is not able to keep the commandments. So Jesus was not keeping the commandments and was teaching people to not keep the commandments by teaching these things. So if we continue now, let's look at verse 6 and 9. Well, actually, verse 5 and 6 and then verse 9. And strangers shall stand and feed your flocks. Now, you're going to have flock in heaven when you fly up in rapture. Some of you will just say yes. Because you're face to face with having to accept some responsibility in this matter of false doctrine. And you feel uncomfortable, so you just be like, well, it said there'll be trees there, so why can't there be flock as well? But strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of the alien shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers. Basically, the strangers and the wicked and so on, who have been conquered and so on, and who are still alive, because of all that they have done and put you to shame and so on, they're going to now turn around and serve you. Strangers shall feed your flocks. Now, the rapture teaching teaches that whoever goes in the rapture is saved, and they're going to receive great rewards from heaven. Why are people going to receive great spiritual and great might and reward from God in heaven or from Jesus and turn around and stay in heaven and feed your flock for you? No. Because if you're getting flock in heaven, they would sure get flock as well or something else. So they wouldn't even have time to serve you like that up there, working for you like a slave, when they have their flock or something else to tend to and something else to do. Because it's here on earth. So he says, their strangers will feed your flocks. And the sons of the alien shall be your plowmen, basically your servants. But ye shall be named the priests. So they're your servants and they're working for you, but ye shall be named the priests of the Lord. Men shall call you the ministers of our God. Not everybody in heaven being called ministers, ministering around the throne and so on like the angels, ministering and worshiping God. No, you shall be called the ministers of our God. You shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, and in their glory shall you boast yourselves. So you will eat the riches of the Gentiles. Gentiles are not going to heaven because they're saved and go up in the rapture, because Gentiles will not make it to heaven in the regular New Testament Christian rapture doctrine, and now for some Messianic Hebrew, their doctrine as well, because some of them teach the rapture. But Gentiles will not actually go to heaven. In other words, the wicked, the unsaved, and so on will not go to heaven. So they will not have riches for you to take. It is on earth here that they're going to be defeated by the Most High and taken down, like in Joel chapter 2 and 3 and other many places, Isaiah 13 and 14 and so on, and Babylon and the war, whatever. They're defeated. Ezekiel, Gog, Magog war and stuff like that. They're defeated, and so now you're going to get their riches, and you will eat their riches, the riches of the Gentiles that they have here on earth. It is here on earth you're going to eat their riches. You're going to take it up. You're going to consume it, their riches, and boast yourself here. Because how could you boast yourself in heaven? Because they're going to be rich in heaven as well if they made it, according to the regular New Testament childhood rapture doctrine, is that everybody's going to get their blessings in heaven. So how could you boast yourself over another one in heaven? First of all, by the time you get to heaven in rapture, you're just going to be humble anyway, so you won't be boasting. Two, if you get some riches in heaven, they're going to get riches as well too. So what do you have to boast over them about? You're all going to be rich with the blessings of the Lord in heaven after the rapture. So it must be here on earth that you will take their riches after the Most High defeats them and boast yourselves in the new glory that you find yourself living in. And those ones defeated will be the strangers that stand and feed your flocks. You are not flying up to heaven. Your doctrine of the rapture is wrong, and the same doctrine, the wings of it are clipped by the Torah. Verse 9, the final verse. And their seed shall be known among the Gentiles, and their offspring among the people. All that see them shall acknowledge them, that they are the seed which the Lord hath blessed. And then other verse, I don't want to go and read that now and look for it. It says their seed shall be known among the Gentiles and so on. Why? Because you're going to be living here on earth where the Gentiles who did not die in the great wars and catastrophes that's coming and floods and judgments and so on, they will still be alive, and you will be among them still as you move around the earth that you now have. You have your own land, the land of the Lord, but you will move and rule and conquer the earth because all dominions will serve you. So you're going to be running your major enterprises all over the world. The base of it will be from in your land, the land of the Lord. So all the Gentiles are still going to know you all around the world, because their seed shall be known among the Gentiles. So no Gentile is going to be in heaven to know you if you go up there in the rapture. It must be on earth here that the Gentiles will still be here with you and knowing you after they have been defeated by the Most High. And their seed shall be known among the Gentiles, offspring and so on. And they're going to acknowledge the righteous, that they are the seed which the Lord hath blessed. How will they acknowledge it? Because they'll be right here with you on earth, under the whole heaven, to see your riches and your glory that the Most High clothed you in, and that the Most High wraps you in. They're going to see it and witness it and be wanting a job from you, be wanting assistance from you, be wanting help from you, serving you, feeding your flock and so on. And they will acknowledge this is the seed that the Lord has blessed. The Gentiles are not going to heaven, neither are you. Rapture wings clipped by Torah. Are you still going to teach the New Testament? Are you still going to believe the New Testament? Twitter, YouTube, Patreon, New Testament is Fake series.